Here now with reaction, author of probably the most timely book heading into the midterms, Defeating Big Government Socialism and Saving America's Future, Fox News contributor, former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. So, Nancy Pelosi, now you went to China. What year did you go to China? You were Speaker at the time, correct?
I'm sorry,
you went to Taiwan, rather.
No, 97.
Yeah.
Well, both. I went to China and Taiwan.
Yeah. Right. So you made your trip to Asia, and if I remember correctly, I think you had some of the same threats, pushback about Taiwan, no?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we'd had a big crisis in '96. President Clinton sent 2 U.S. aircraft carriers to the Straits of Taiwan. I went on TV and strongly supported him. The Chinese dictatorship invited me to come to China to give speeches in Shanghai and Beijing. We told them we were going to go to Taiwan, and they went crazy and said, oh, you can't do it, you can't do it. And finally, we said to them, look, if you feel that strongly, we're going to skip China and go just to Taiwan. They said, whoop, whoop, whoop. Why don't you come to China? And the compromise was I flew from China to Japan and then from Japan to Taiwan, so I didn't sort of rub their face in it. But I think Speaker Pelosi now has no choice. Now that it's out in the open, now that the Chinese communists are dancing around and making threats and all that, she has to go to Taiwan because to back down now would encourage every aggressive, bullying attitude of the dictatorship, and I think would be a disaster. And I'm hoping in the next day or so we're going to see her in Taiwan. I frankly think the Chinese communists will then calm down. You know, they're running a bluff. The fact is they're not going to take on the United States. They're not going to take on the Speaker of the House. And all these various threats are nonsense. They're not going to happen.
If they did, they're basically starting World War III, are they not? I mean, they're threatening to shoot down her airplane.
I mean, the worst case, look, the worst case, if they shot down her airplane, that would be literally an act of war. And we would have no choice except to retaliate massively. And people tend to forget, you know, the U.S., despite the weakness of the Pentagon, despite all of the truly woke, stupid behaviors, we still have a powerful enough military. You can, with our allies in Australia and in Japan and elsewhere, we could isolate China very fast. If they can't export, they start to go broke. Their cities start to have unemployment. If they can't import, they begin to starve. So the Chinese are not necessarily in a strong position to try to bully us. And I think that we need to recognize that. And it's really important when you're dealing with a dictatorship to stand up to them and make them realize that reality is that there are real limits to what they can accomplish. If we were to cave right now, who knows psychologically what they would conclude from that and about whether or not they would then decide to push us even further by trying to occupy Taiwan.
They're calling it the Inflation Reduction Act. Meanwhile, the middle class are going to get hammered at a time when they can least afford it with higher taxes. Only Washington, D.C. can call something just the opposite of what it is. But that's what they're trying to do here. Why Manchin gave into this, I don't know. It'll hurt the people of West Virginia, but it now is what it is. The Inflation Reduction Act that the Wharton School of Business and congressional budget committees are saying, no, we'll do no such thing. It won't reduce inflation. It'll increase inflation.
Look, I mean, I can't figure out why Manchin would have approved a bill which raises taxes on coal directly hitting West Virginia. But let me go a step further. This act is an entire lie. I was very proud over the weekend that Herschel Walker, running for the Senate in Georgia, challenged Senator Warnock, who's a very articulate preacher and all that stuff. He said to him, why don't we in August have a debate on this bill? Warnock promptly said, no chance. He's not going to do it. I thought it was fascinating. I think every Republican candidate in the country should challenge their opponent to defend what I think is the tax increase, 87,000 more internal revenue agents, higher spending, greater inflation bill, which is what this really is. I also have a challenge I want to take this chance to put out. I think the Senate Republicans have an absolute obligation to use every procedural process to stop this bill from getting voted on before the recess. If this country gets to look at this bill throughout August, it will die. There's no possibility that a senator running for re-election in the Democratic Party wants people back home. I mean, just a single question. You really think we need 87,000 more IRS agents? There are only 77,000 right now. That's more than doubling the number of IRS agents. I don't think Mark Kelly can go home and survive voting for that.
By the way, that means everyone will get the Hannity treatment, which is pull his file, even though it's gone through 2 accounting firms and a law firm. Mr. Speaker, your book is timely. I hope these candidates take your advice. Thanks for being with us. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.